Hi everyone, this is Cindy, Creating the Heart, and I am here to share. I've got this was another project. I think I already shared this on my channel. I don't want to have it drop everywhere, but I am back to share I finally caught up with all my retreats. My virtual retreat, I had a ton to catch up. I have some other things to catch up on, including some kits. I want to do some summer crafting, but it just feels good to be done with my virtual retreats. This one is Altenew's Secret Garden, and it was done on May 4th. I actually waited to do this one, and I did it in the Altenew Academy, which is where they put the classes. I think they do Zoom, and then after the class is done or the workshop is done for the weekend, then they move it to Altenew Academy, which I actually prefer watching in Altenew Academy because when you go there, there's a PDF, pictures, and then it has the videos there. So I like watching it versus watching it live. So let's get into what the kit was. I know I shared this before, but just a reminder of what was in this kit. And these are all the people. And so this is going to help me kind of keep organized. The kit was pretty amazing. I want to say, I can't remember if it was this one or the other one, the comfort, and I forget what it is, the winter one that I did. But I had gotten the kit for like $100, and I can't remember which one it was. And then the kit price went up. So I got lucky on that one. But whatever this was, I think the normal price for this, if you bought this like early bird, I want to say it was like $225 maybe. It was a very good deal, in my opinion. First of all, we got this really beautiful, actually, craft apron, which I did not use, but when I do messy things, I should think about pulling that out. The other things that we got is we got 3 of their inks, and really, I think their inks are, what is the word that I'm looking for? I don't think they get enough like press. Like, this is their fresh dye ink. It's beautiful. It really, I think it's a really, really lovely ink, and I think that it does a very good job at ink blending. The colors are beautiful. What we did was we did like this honeydew glow we mixed with this teal tempest to create a green, because this is more like teal, more blue. So it was fun. So we got this teal tempest. We got this rhodite, which I got all kinds of ink on it. Rhodite. Blue horizon, which we didn't use very much of. Honeydew glow. And then this is lemonade stand and blush rose. I don't know why this is not focusing. I'll take the autofocus off because it's not. Okay, there you go. Blush rose. So these are really beautiful inks, and I really enjoyed that. The brushed gold metallic cardstock, it's 10 sheets. We got a whole pack of this. We only used, I would say, about 1 to 2 sheets of this. So I have a full sheet of that left, and actually I have where I put my brushed gold right there. We got this Altenew Milky Way glitter cardstock, which we hardly used any of this. So I have full pack of this left, which can be used for whatever I want. I have a ton of like rainbow pieces from Concord and Ninth. Put that over there. Let's see what else. Oh, we got a pin. It says Secret Garden enamel pin. Put that over here. We got full sets of brushes. One that I didn't even open, which I need to open these and use these. These are their detailed brushes. And I actually have another pack of these from another class I was in, but I need to start breaking these out and using what I have. But we got a full set of these brushes. These are the ones that I mostly used, and I had another pack of these somewhere because I needed one more brush. I needed a yellow, so I did pull one from, the brushes that I have. So we got that. And then into the kit. So I'm very much debating, like, do I want to destash or not? And I'm going to tell you why it's difficult for me to decide, because this is one of those kits where everything really kind of works together. So we have this 3D folder, which is freaking amazing. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, it is really, really beautiful, really gorgeous. And so it does this beautiful image. And also, there's a die that goes with it that's in with the flower dies, and I'll show you that in a second. So there's a die, but it's included with the flower dies. So there's a die to cut this out. And then there is a stencil. So then you can stencil color on there as well. So you could die cut it in cardstock or whatever, and then use the embossing folder to give you, some dimension, or you can ink it. So it's a whole system, which I think is great. And let me go into the rest of the kit and why it's hard to split it up. So this is the Cascading Flowers. This is a giant stamp set that we got. It's quite big. Comes with all of these sentiments. All right, and so I got interrupted. Sorry about that. Cascading Flowers. So there's a stencil, and the stencil will do these flowers. And then there's also a die for sentiments, and it will do the big sentiments on here, die cut them. And it has a shadow, and it has its own, it's a whole thing. So this is a lot. So there's that. And then here is the die. So the die cuts all these different flowers. I think it's 3 different flowers, and it's a very interesting system. So they have like a keyhole in the middle. So if you match up all the flowers that have the keyhole, that helps you make the flower. Then they have an arrow. You match the flowers that have the arrow, and it makes that flower. And then they have a triangle, and then they have something that looks like a snowman. I don't know what it is, but so you can see it's a triangle, a keyhole. And so this die right here is the one that cuts out the Leafy Splendor. So, so that complicates matters. And so what to do, right? So that does that. And so it's kind of hard because they all really do kind of work together. And then this is the flower bed stencil. So the stencil will do those flowers. It will do like individual flowers that you could then, that you could stencil. So like from the stamp set. And then it could do standalone flowers, and it could do a whole sheet of paper as background, which I'm going to show you. It's a whole thing. So then this is the Scripty Sentiments die. So this works with the stamp set. So some of the sentiments that are in that stamp set can then be cut out with this die. And then there are other sentiments in here, and they all have a shadow. So you'll see that in the sample projects. Now, this is the part where I was very disappointed. I decided to do the Secret Garden based on the fact that I wanted to use this stencil and die. We used our stencil, the stencil and 3D embossing folder. I did use the embossing folder one time, and we didn't use the stencils at all. So I'm gonna have to do that on my own. I got it specifically because I wanted to see this used, because I am thinking that this would be great for any of my fairy tale stamps that I have. I think it would be good for fairies, for gnomes. I think there's a lot of different ways that this can be utilized. And then there's this really great stencil, which I think was kind of a miss for them not to use it, because I think this is where not just could you stencil, but you could use some pastes, and there's some other techniques I think that could be done to make this pretty cool. So I'm a little disappointed. I went to go look and see if this is in their range yet, and it's not. So I don't know if the rest of it's in the range or not, but this one was not available yet. So I'm still going to have to play around with that. So let's get into the projects, and they're going in this order. So the first class, I have my little sheet here that tells me the classes. So the first class was J.C. Gaspar, and I'll be honest, the classes that I've taken with him have been hit or miss, but I loved this one. I thought this one was great, even though I think it could have been simplified a little bit. But this is the card that we made. And so we did kind of the full sheet of using the stencils as a background. And so it really made me fall in love with this rhodite color. So this pink was blush, and then the other color, this like burgundy-ish color, is this rhodolite. So that's really an amazing color. So we did that, and then we kind of used the yellow and the teal to kind of create our own green, and I think it came out really nicely. So what we did to do this, this, what do you call this, gatefold, was we went ahead and we used a 3D embossing folder, and then that page we ended up kind of cutting in half and then kind of cutting out the middle, and then we're able to kind of create this kind of look, which is great, because this can also be used lots of different ways. So I did appreciate this. It was great. The second class was Jennifer McGuire, and I think, yeah, we did only the one card, and I screwed this card up because we were supposed to cut the flowers out of another paper and then ink blend it. So I did ink blend over it, and it looks okay, but I think if I had used, it was more of a white glitter paper that we're supposed to ink over, and I used the silver instead because I didn't follow directions, or I didn't understand the directions. I don't know. So that's fine, but I still think it came out pretty anyways. The other technique that we used is that we used the crafted flower to make our flowers, but then we used the stencil to stencil over it to kind of give this look, which I thought was pretty cool. And then we used the 3D embossing folder, and then we cut it out in gold, and then we also used it as a like a background on our white paper, like a white on white. So this looks hard, but this was a very easy. Her stuff is never hard. It might be a little intricate, might be a lot of stuff going on, but Jennifer McGuire's stuff is never really too much. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. And then the next card we did was Kelly Taylor, and we did a 2-for-1. And, I struggle with watercoloring, but this was really great. And I should have paid attention when she said don't cut it until it's dry because it'll rip, because mine ripped. But we did one sheet we stamped, and then we white embossed, and then we put ink down, and then we used the stencils, but I ended up doing away with the stencils because it was just too hard to see with white on white, that I just went ahead and did a wash of color over what I thought those flowers and leaves were in the lighter color, and then went back in with the darker color to do some shading, and I think it came out still pretty good. So it was just easy that way. I didn't have to fuss about it. And then I used just some sequins that I had from Concord and Ninth's summer camp that was on my desk. So that was class 3. Class 4 was Carissa Wiley. I don't know if this might be the one I didn't like the most. I don't know. It was one of them I was like, This one, it was fine. It was fine. I didn't, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. But what I did like was we used the stencil on top of the 3D embossing folder, when I ran it through. So I really liked that. I liked seeing the different ways to shade the flowers, and she did all white so that, you don't need colored cardstock. You could just use ink. So that was Carissa Wiley. And then Laura Basson, we did this card. And so I kind of messed up a little bit. So to cover my messing up, I actually just kind of like threw some black splatter on here, and so gave it that kind of watercolor splatter kind of look, which I think kind of worked for this particular image. I just kind of struggled a little bit with this card, even though it should have been like the easiest card. I struggled with it a little bit because I was struggling to find out what stencil we were using to get the color on the image. It wasn't totally easy. She did a great job of explaining it. I just struggled to figure it out. That was all me. And then Dawn, she made this card. And so she showed us how to make this card. So I really liked this one quite a bit. I think that it came out very nicely. The colors that we used came out great. So this was another one where we did a full background using the stencil just in order and just creating a background. And I actually really liked that way of using the stencils. So I probably like that the most. So those are the cards that we made. And that was the Secret Garden 2024. I think that the value of the products that we got for this particular class for me was top notch, because I'm keeping everything, which is rare because usually I don't keep everything when I do these classes. And I enjoyed all the products that we got. I have a lot of floral, so the reason why I am keeping the floral is because it kind of made the floral like indispensable with the rest of the products. So because it has the stencil, it has the die, and the same with the Fresh Flowers die set. It kind of made it indispensable by creating this particular die that then had the Leafy Splendor that has a stencil and a 3D embossing folder, which is now like my new favorite thing, is the 3D embossing folders. I am really loving those. So anyway, tell me what you think. If you think, I did a good job at deciding to keep everything. And what do you guys think about this one here? Because I'd love to hear ideas on how I can use this, because I want to use it. Anyway, thank you for watching. This is Cindy Praying with the Heart.